longship. The epic one. Alright. Wow. We are 3 minutes early though, so we're going to go ahead and wait for a few minutes. And while we wait, why don't I go ahead and talk about some of the other things that we have coming up as far as some designs that we're working on to get into the catalog and such. Let me just fix YouTube's camera real fast. There we go. Alright. And I do apologize if anybody was wanting to watch on Instagram. We couldn't get Instagram to work at the moment, so we do apologize for that. Some of the designs we have coming up is the boxes that can fit our 10 by 10 boards. That is going to be coming up hopefully soon. We've got to get some more proof grade materials in so we can actually make the box, but you should be able to fit all the pieces, or all the boards on top. Here we specifically have 3, but with light material we are hoping that we can fit pretty much all our games in there. And then you have dividing compartments for all the pieces. So that is what we're hoping to have in the catalog soon. Like I said, just got to get proof grade material in to get that done. Then another thing, I'm going to have to see if I have it printed here. No, I do not. Alright, another thing is another game that actually is in this Viking longship. It's called Tablet. It's pretty much another variation off of the Viking chess and the Brenda Irish chess version. So we're hoping to get that in relatively soon. That one's more so just trying to get it more optimized for Glowforge. I'm also currently working on an ornament that is should be at least 3 layers with maybe 4 layers total. So that one I'm looking forward to because it's going to be a windmill with somebody riding a bike past it. So I'm looking forward to that one. Let's see. Do apologize. Some of my cameras are not facing exactly the same way. So trying to make sure I can see stuff. Okay. Alright, so since we've already started, let's go ahead. I'm Brianna. Our small business is Steak and Badger Crafts, and we've been doing a Glowforge for getting up to a year anniversary so far. So we love it, and we've been designing stuff using the Glowforge premium stuff, and that's actually what we used to design this boat. We used all the tools that you use in Glowforge Premium, all the clip art, the lines, the different, oh goodness, my brain's fogging, all the different fonts, everything. We designed this ship using the Glowforge premium stuff. So that was pretty awesome. That all got made there. So let's go ahead and go over a little bit of what this ship pretty much is. This ship is pretty much a 12 game compartment, easily decorative piece that you can put out on your mantle. That's where we have ours. We love it. It does take up pretty much the entire bed of the Glowforge, and quite a lot of sheets of material. From what we saw with the exploring the catalog, it's the one thing that takes perhaps the most out of everything, all the most materials out of everything. So the sail we chose to make out of leather, so you can actually easily lift it up and off. And this one, there's 12 games total in the ship. So this one has 2 different games that you can play. One is called Fox and Geese. If you're already so sorry, still getting over a cold or something. If you're already exploring the Glowforge catalog and such, we actually have our Fox and Geese design already in there. So you can kind of see it's slightly similar board. And this is pretty much Fox and Geese. Then there's also another game that you can play on here called Solitaire. Single player, pretty much it's more so a little bit of a puzzle, checkers kind of thing, where pieces jump over each other and you're trying to get one single one in the center. So sorry. Maybe once Dave gets back with from dropping off our son at an activity, he can take over for a minute and I go get a drink. Alright, the top game here on the ship is called Daldos. We submitted that one recently to the Glowforge catalog. That would be this one. It's traditionally shaped to the so sorry. It's more traditionally shaped in the design of a boat historically. So this one is one that actually inspired the ultimate design for the epic Viking longship. So there's that. Like I said, I'm getting over something and it has not been easy. So those are the first three games you see on the ship. Daldos includes oh, so sorry. You use pretty much all the peg pieces here except for these ones that are in the middle. These ones are not needed. So you can actually take those out to play Daldos. And then we have our little 4-sided dice that we use to made them to the shape of canoes or like lifeboats kind of thing. So those are pretty awesome. Oh my goodness, I definitely need to get a drink of water soon. Okay, for the boat, when you go to assemble it or take it apart to play games, we recommend you grab it by the sail and you lift it up tail side first. And you kind of just have to shimmy it and then angle it up that way. So as you can see, we have a storage compartment where we put all our shields that would normally go on the sides here. We just put them in there for now. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Ugh. I'm going to put the sail over here. Alright, so there was Daldos. And then on the top here, we actually have the rules for Fox and Geese and Solitaire. And then on the back of that, you have the rules for Daldos and then 9 Men's Morris, which we'll see the board for that in just a minute. So those are this is just pretty much a rules board. And then you go over to this next board. And you not only have the rules for Gluckhouse, but you also have the board for it. This one's actually kind of cool and actually uses only these dice, and then you use the shields as like your little, as they used to do it back in medieval Germany. It was a gambling game in taverns. So you use you would just use the shields as like your little betting tokens, really. And then on the back of Gluckhaus, we have the rules for Ennefatafel, Tablet, Brandub, and Alafatafel. So all your rules are within the first top 2 layers of the ship. Alright, this one, I need to make some room, so I do apologize. I'm going to move you over here. And I'm going to move this one over here. So yeah, these next 3 layers are actually ones that kind of are combined together, really. Oh, I do apologize. My little girl has wanted to see mommy while I film. So on this side, you have the boards for Brandub, Ennefatafel, Tablet, and Alafatafel. And as well as kind of your starting positions for each one along the sides. So kind of helps, once you get a hang of the rules, all you have to do is just pull out these 3 layers and then you're pretty much good to go. And then when you go to flip it over, let's see, yes, this way. Alright. So this board is 9 Men's Morris, and the thing about 9 Men's Morris is there's actually a couple different variations of it. So this board actually reflects the fact that there are multiple variations of 9 Men's Morris. So we'll start going over gameplay a little bit here in just a second. Let me go fix my girl's bouncer, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Went ahead and grabbed myself a drink too, so hopefully not as much coughing. So let's go ahead and start with like 9 Men's Morris. So what you're gonna need is 9 pieces of the different colors. So 9 dark and then 9 white. Now we printed these tokens in, or the shields as we call them, in walnut hardwood and maple hardwood. Both medium in thickness when you're looking for proof grade materials. Now we think you can easily get away with the top layer, printing it into the veneer, and then just sticking it on top of the hardwood back pieces that has the holes. I will admit we haven't actually tested that ourselves, but we're pretty positive that would also work very well as well. So let's see, did I actually do my math right? There we go, there's that one. And then 9 for this one. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. All right. So when you go to play Nine Men's Morris, you start off with 9 tokens each side, and you're going to actually have white go first. They're going to go ahead and pick where they want to go on the board. Now the best comparison I can give to modern day standards of what Nine Men's Morris is going to be tic-tac-toe. This is like an ultimate version of tic-tac-toe. So your ultimate goal is to get rid of all your opponent's pieces. And you do that by getting 3 in a row. So the fox will go next. Actually, I think I'm playing, let's see, this size. I'm going to try to remind myself which sides are which. This is the benefit of having all my other game boards here. I do apologize. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you can actually go up on here too. So, you're just trying to get 3 in a row. And so you go back and forth, placing pieces down. I do apologize. Let me fix little girl. Alright, I'm back. Little girl's fixed. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and continue putting pieces down. You're trying to get 3 in a row. Your opponent might try to stop you from getting 3 in a row. So just keep going until once the 3 in a row happens, then that person gets to take a token off the board and it's out of play. And then you just continue playing back and forth until somebody has no more pieces. And then that's kind of the same rules across the board, but your number of pieces you start off with are going to change depending on what kind of variation you're doing. Like there's 12 and there's let me take a quick look. 11, 6, yeah. So those are the different variations. 12, 11, 9, 6. So those numbers will indicate how many pieces you start off with, as well as your size board, because when you go down to 6, you go down to the smaller board to play with. So that is your Nine Men's Morris and other variations. Let's go ahead and switch over to Untitled and those other games from Scandinavia. Alright, when you start off with Untitled, that's the most commonly known one, also known as Viking chess. You're going to start off with placing your attacker pieces over along the sides. So you want to do them like towards the middle area. And like I said, on this particular game, give me 1 minute.
You got no one on, you're fine.
So, with how we designed the ship, you can either just use the shields, or you can actually go ahead, take your people, match up the bases correctly, and they will actually create like a standard piece, or a piece that's standing up. And some of them you just, like, when you go to print and get it assembled, I would recommend just kind of working them in there a little bit, pulling them in and out of their stand bases so they can kind of get kind of used to being pulled open and such. So that's what I would recommend for that. Now, the nice part with the players that you find on top of the Daldos board is their side shields can actually come off as well. So if you don't have enough shield pieces and you don't necessarily want to put these guys on their bases, you can pull off their side shields and use those as well. Untitled is the one version of the Viking chess that takes perhaps the most pieces. Next one I would say is Tablet. I do apologize. My little girl possibly needs me to sit down and feed her. You're okay, princess. Okay, we did print a very specific piece that we're calling the king. He's a little different. And we actually have his shield glued because no matter what the game is, or what version you're playing of the Viking chess, he's always going to be a defender. And in every single version, he is going to go in the middle. And then you start putting in, oops, I ducked one under the table. We'll just grab another one from the storage compartment. Girl is definitely not happy. I do apologize. Give me just a minute. gonna just try and keep little girl out of frame as best I can. All right, so this is the setup for Untitled. Now, obviously with tablet, it's gonna be less pieces and a slightly different sized board. So with tablet, you go down a size on the board and you get rid of some of the attackers and defenders. And like I said, there's diagrams here to actually show you how it is supposed to look for each game. So you can kind of see from, like, for yourself how to set up each game. There we go. That is the version set up for tablet. Now for Brand-Up, like I said, Brand-Up is the least amount of pieces and perhaps just one of the easiest to set up because the board is the smallest size board on here. Alright. You little missy are making it hard to keep you out of frame. Okay, so there's the setup for Brand-Up. Now the rules are pretty much consistent across all three variations. So you only can move from side to side or up and down, just like a rook in chess. Then who goes first kind of varies depending on where you read it online. Some say the attackers go first, some say the defenders. So it's kind of more so up to you. We think it's better off if you just use the attackers to go first. Now, your ultimate goal, if you're an attacker, trap the king. If you're a defender, you're trying to protect the king and ultimately get him to the edge of the board or to one of the safe corners. So to be able to capture pieces, you got to trap them in between like this, and then you can take them like that. Now, other pieces can freely move in without being taken. But then that kind of does leave some pieces open up to getting taken as well. Now, the king can be trapped while he's in the middle, which is kind of their castle, if he is caught on all four sides, like so. Then some rules do state he can be captured on the side. Others say that's not necessarily accurate. It kind of just depends on how difficult do you want it to be. I need... Okay. There you go. So that's kind of pretty much the basic rules for Untitled, Tablet, and Brand-Up. So that's just so you can see what those games look like. Now, Untitled is like a Viking version of like modern day checkers. So it's going to be played on the smaller board here, and each side is going to get 22 pieces. And the setup is pretty much you're taking over almost the entire board except the center and then the corners of the board. So you usually have at least 3 on one side of the center going. Yeah, this is just going to take me a minute to get set up, but once I do, it'll look pretty colorful.
While you're setting that up, we do have a version of Solitaire and Brenda already in the Glowforge catalog separate in a smaller board. So we do have that.
And of course I need one more attacker piece and then some more defender pieces. Or black and white, depending on how you want to look at it. So let me grab the rest of these, and I might have to start taking off shields off of figures. And I'm taking off some shields. Let's see. Geese. There you go. There we go. Alright. Now when you play this, they say white goes first. So the only move you can make is actually going in the center, which means somebody gets to jump over you. And your piece gets taken off the board and out of play. From there, it just kind of continues back and forth. Now,
if you can't jump, you have to jump.
If you can jump, you have to jump, kind of thing. So you just kind of keep playing till you You just keep playing until somebody's out of pieces. Now, as far as the corners go, your pieces cannot stay there. So that is not a legal move to move into the corners. So the way the corners work, though, best is if you have a piece there as part of a jump. And it can go into kind of a jump mode. And it can be part of a jump. And you can do it multiple times, as many times as you need to. So the corner can be acting as part of a jump, but your pieces cannot stay on the corners. Center, once the first move happens, pieces can come in and out of the center freely. So it's just the corners where pieces cannot stay, but they can use it as part of a jump. So that is Solitaire. And then let's go ahead and take a look at, if I can get these pieces moved off to the side. I'll pull up Daldos here since it's right here. Now the reason why on the Daldos board you can actually see there's like a plus sign pattern cut out into it. This is so it's just how this game is played. It used to be played with like just simple pegs on a boat shaped like board. There we go. And then I need to add another. Wait a second. Oh, here's the other good part about these pieces. We actually angled their axes so you know which one's supposed to be a defender and which one's not. This one's actually not a defender, so it has the wrong shield on. That's kind of funny. So defenders will actually have their axes facing the to the left, or I guess if you're looking straight at it, to the right. Attackers will have opposite. There's the other one. All right. Now, like I said, the king piece actually doesn't really need to be in play unless it's for the different versions of Viking chess. So that's the only time it really needs to be on the board. Otherwise, you don't really need that one. So let's get rid of these middle ones. Now, you need your four-sided dice. Like I said, with our design here, we designed one four-sided dice, kind of these long cube shapes. This is actually historically how they made four-sided dice. If you're an avid D&D player like we are, you actually have modern triangle dice. So you take your dice and you roll it. And in order to actually turn a piece so it can start moving along the board, you actually have to roll pretty much a version of 1. Or on this particular dice here, we have it known as doll. So you automatically know that's what you need to do. So doll also equals 1. And doll is how pieces start to get to move along the board. And it doesn't matter which pieces actually go this time. It can be light or dark. Honestly, you can just flip a coin to decide who goes first. Or if you really want to, you can make it a competition of age. Okay, so I rolled a doll. So for doll, I'm just going to go ahead and go with geese here. And what you're going to do is the extra plus sign on the middle row here, that's going to actually be your, gotta think boat terms here. That's going to be the bow of the ship, and this is going to be the stern. So pieces, when they're ready to move, are actually going to move from the bow up to the stern in the middle. So, or from the stern up to the bow. Oh my goodness, I got myself mixed up here. So once you roll a 1, you're going to take your piece out, you're going to turn it so he's now facing the other way. And then you go ahead and you move him 1 space towards the stern. Since we're just playing a fresh game, he goes automatically to the stern. If it was like this piece, he'd move over 1, is essentially what it is. Now the second dice, since he is now a dolled piece, that is pretty much his, dolling a piece is pretty much your saying it's legal to move now. So the doll piece can now move an additional 3 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and move him 3. 1, 2, 3. And then it'll be the next person's turn. They don't get a doll piece. Once again, we rolled, and the doll piece can actually start going forward again. And if you had 2 dolled pieces, technically you can split these, but for now, since we only have 1, we're just going to leave it as is. Move 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, once again, we have another dolled piece for the geese. So he turned and he moved 1. Technically, I could have left the doll as 1 and moved this guy 5 spaces, but you really want to get over to your opponent's side before they really have a chance to move their pieces. That's the main goal for the game, because that's how you get to take their pieces off the board. Fox is just not doing good this game. 3. So once again, we can like split these two, and between these two pieces. So one dice can go to this one dice can go to this one, or they can both go to 1. So it can't be 6 to both of the pieces. It'd have to be like 3, 3, or 6, 0. That kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and move this guy 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Fox really is starting to sweat now. Okay, Fox actually gets to doll now. So they get to move a piece, move it 1, and they might as well go ahead and just utilize their second dolled and go this way. Alright, now Geese turn. Alright, 5. So they might as well, here's the thing. They can move this piece over, but they're not going to be able to capture the other opponent's pieces yet, because they have to land on the exact same spot. Pretty much no 2 warriors can occupy the same spot, kind of thing. So it's actually not a very smart move for this stalled piece to move for Geese. It'd actually be smarter for this guy to move. So it's better for him to just move 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he takes a piece off the board. And that piece is no longer in play for Fox. Okay, Fox actually just got 2 dolls again. Apparently they are very lucky. And I would, like, if you're trying to play a very strategic game, it's better to just keep dolling pieces when you get the chance. So, yeah, they pretty much turn, move 1 towards the stern. Okay, 8 for Geese. Once again, it's kind of smarter for this guy to go. So, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once again, another piece off the board. So he can still capture all 3 of those, or all 4 of these pieces still. So that's, Fox is kind of not doing good in this game right now. Okay, Fox needs to start moving, so they're going to start moving 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to move this guy 2. Technically, you can move one of these other ones 2, but we're going to move this one 2. Geese, once again, can doll a piece. And then this guy might as well just move the 2, because then he actually gets to capture another piece. So pretty much you're going around in kind of this S shape to begin with. But once you get back towards, for example, we're going to just take this Geese guy. Once he gets back towards the stern, he's going to go back to the middle, going to go back up the middle again. And instead of going back to his home row, he's actually going to go back into the enemy row. You don't ever go back to your home row once you leave it. So that actually, that's why it helps if you can get your pieces out of your home row faster and get them into the enemy row quickly, because then you get to take pieces out one after another pretty quickly. So that is pretty much Daldas. If you pretty much get down to like 1 piece each, or like only one opponent has 1 piece and like you're pretty much playing ring around the rosy kind of thing, you can both come to the consensus of, hey, let's just call it a tie, or just let's call it done. So
you got a 1 piece, you lose.
Right, if you have one piece, you lose. Yeah. So that's the other way you can talk through that game. So let's go into Luck House here.
Why don't you go take care of Gwen? I'll switch out for a minute.
Okay. Dave will go ahead and talk about Luck House and then Fox and Geese and Solitaire. I'm going to let him come over here first.
All right.
And then maybe he can cover history. Sorry.
Yep. All right. So here's Gluckhouse. This is the version we have in the ship right here. It's all on one board. And if you look right here, this is the version we had in the catalog first. If you can notice similarities, the crown, the rings, and the pig. Those are all classic iconography for this game. Now, this game is extremely, extremely simple. What's interesting about it is that this game is credited by historians for increasing the popularity of gambling games in Europe, and some say even being one of the primary causes of casinos being formed. But we made it a bit more family friendly for the ship. Now for this, you can use any tokens. You can use fox, you can use geese, you can use however many. If you're doing a gambling version, use whatever you want. If you're doing the family friendly version, give every person an equal number of tokens. So we'll say we give everybody, to make this simple, I'll give fox and geese each 3 for 2 players. We'll do 5, just in case. All right, there's 5 and 5. So this game has a set of dice. Now what you do is every person will start by putting a token on 7. This kind of a pot. And they roll the dice. That is in 11. So Fox rolled that. He puts a coin on 11 because there's nothing there. If you notice, most of these spots are pretty small. I'm not going to hold a lot of tokens. 7's the biggest because it holds the most. The reason for that is because on a 2, 7, or 12, you're taking stuff off the board. You're not putting anything down. On a 7, you are putting stuff on the board. That was my mistake. On a 7, you're adding more to the 7. Let's roll again. This is for geese. That is a 12. Early in the game, but okay. If you roll a 12, you take every token off the board and add it to your pile. That's the jackpot. The difference between that and the 2, if you roll the 2, you take every token except the 7. So now at the start of this round, everyone puts a token back on 7. Goes to the fox to start. He got a 4. There's no 4 on the board. And that's the same for this one right here. On this one, we actually put the 4 up here at the top. Now, in medieval Germany, if you roll the 4, you pay the token to the house. That's how the house made their money. That's kind of like the pot for the house. In this version, if you roll a 4, it's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. It's just kind of you miss your turn. We have another variation of the rule where if you roll 4, you just discard token to make the game go faster. All right, back to the geese. You got a 9, nothing on 9. That's a token. Back to the fox. An 8, nothing on 8. That's a token. Back to the geese. A 10. This thing on 10, right there. There we go. And in some versions, I want to see if you put it on here. If you roll doubles, you get to go, but I don't think we have it on this rules. Back to this game. The fox got a 6. So in this version, we put it, when you run out of tokens, you're out. Just like in the medieval game, if you run out of money, you were done. So there we go. So that's Gluckhouse. Now, if anyone's on TikTok, give me a second. I want to turn the camera around so I can see better. I want to be able to see if anyone's actually watching, and you ought to help out better. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry. Just switching things around. There we go. Make sure it's visible. There we go. Let me just refresh this quick one here. All right, everything's going great, guys. So let me get back on camera. Sorry about that. I took a step off camera for 1 second. All right. So that's Gluck House. Now we're going to go on to our sail games. And that is Fox and Geese and Solitaire. So the sail of the ship has this pattern on it, which is obviously the same design as Fox and Geese right here. And take a look over here. Solitaire. You notice? Basically the same lineup. Right there and right there. Alright. So, we'll start with Fox and Geese. Fox and Geese. Now, some people say it's Scandinavian in origin. Others don't. There's an Icelandic poem from 1600 that some historians say references Fox and Geese. However, they can't be sure. So, we're going to take the Fox and Geese tokens and start lining them up on the board. And there's different versions. This game is, if you haven't noticed, a lot of these medieval games are asymmetrical. One side will have way more pieces than the other, like in the Nefertafel, Brandub, and tablet versions. So I'm going to start with the basic number. That is about 15 geese. You can do 13, you can do 17, you can do more. But this is the main number. See that layout right here? See over here? I'm going to back it up. Hopefully you can see that better over here on TikTok. And then you have a fox. And this is the game. This game is the reason why we chose this iconography. We thought about a lot about doing just one fox and then all geese. But we had to figure out a way to make it work right with the shields and with everything else with the ship. I wanted the ship to have all the designs make sense and have a place, which is why the dice look like crates, or the Daldis dice have the longship symbol on the top. I wanted them to make sense with the ship as a whole. Okay, for Fox and Geese, the purpose of the goal of the fox is basically to avoid the geese, jump the geese, eliminate the geese, get them out of the game. And the point of the geese is to trap the fox. Get him cornered, corralled up in the corner so that he cannot escape. All right. This is over here. Give me 1 second. So, all right. Everything is looking good over here. Just double checking something. All right, back in the camera. All right, here we go. So the game starts. You look if you need a refresher. That's why we made sure all the rules are on here. You look right here. We got the different layouts for Fox and Geese. For 13, 15, or 17 geese, and alternate fox starting locations. Right there. Different layouts for geese, fox, alternate starting location. Alright. So, the fox moves first. The fox can move forward, backwards, or diagonally. So we'll have him go backwards a little bit like this. The geese can move forward and sideways. Well, the fox moves sideways too. The geese can move forward and sideways. And in some versions, they can move diagonally forward. But in this game, we're going to say no. We're just going to keep it with the basic rules of forward and sideways. The fox can move anywhere along the line. So I move this geese up here forward. This fox will move this way. We'll have this goose move up here. We'll have this fox move forward. We'll move this goose up. So this is a very hard game for the geese. The geese are the ones who are always at the disadvantage in this game. You would think they have the numbers. However, considering the fact that the fox can jump geese, like in checkers, and move them from the game, gives them this advantage, because the fox is going to be dwindling their numbers. And if you lose focus for a second, it can be extremely bad for you. Just one bad move can really screw this game over for you. So make sure you're paying attention to that. All right, so keep moving forward. Now the fox, we'll have him go over here. He's still pretty good. Now, in this game, so we created a lot of these games. We designed them all because there was a local Scandinavian festival going on. And so we went through, we ran all these old games for that festival. And during that festival, they wanted us in the crafting area to be teaching people something, teaching them a craft or something. So for the 2 days of the festival, I was teaching people these old games. And during that time, there was probably about 20 people who played this game. One time the geese won. It is hard to win as the geese, especially if you're new to the game. That's why a lot of these asymmetrical games, usually it's not the person who wins the game who wins. Usually you have to go through and do 2 or 3 rounds, alternating sides. So if you're playing Fox and Geese, it's not a one-time game. It's like more of a 4 or 5 rounds. Whoever wins the most out of the 4 or 5 rounds will win. Okay, so next we'll have the geese move. I'm trying to play the geese smart, because otherwise the geese can get in a lot of trouble. Move this one forward. We'll have the fox go back. We'll have this goose move forward again. Right now, so far, the fox hasn't had a chance to do anything, which is good for the geese. Anyway, that goes on and on. Now let's play a little bit stupider. Give the fox a chance to do something. So with that, and that. So if you can see this, how it's set up, the thing about this game is it's just like in checkers, where the fox can jump, jump, and jump, and continue, and remove multiple geese at once. There's 3 right there in that turn. So that's fox and geese. You keep going until the fox is cornered. It's difficult. It usually needs at least 5 or 6 geese to be played minimum to be able to do it. For example, you give him this corner. You need to have geese here, 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 and here to stop him from going anywhere. Or if you have him here, you can do it with 4 geese. If you have him there, 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 and there. Otherwise, he would get out. So, here we go. Very difficult game. Now I'm going to start adding more tokens to this to show you Solitaire. For Solitaire, you have 1 token on every point, except for that center point. This game is extremely old, and it's more of a puzzle than a game. If you've ever been to like a Cracker Barrel, you know how they have those triangle pyramids on their boards where you try and jump all the pieces. Same concept, where you're jumping over the pieces, trying to get down to 1 piece left. So if you can see the board, I'll hold this board up. You start with 1 token on every corner, on every point, except for the center. You leave the center blank. And you're trying to jump your pieces 1 at a time until you have 1 piece left. And ideally, the best score is to end with that 1 empty spot in the center, or the 1 piece left in the middle. If you do that, that's a perfect game. It's difficult. During that same festival, I think the best score on this was like maybe a 3 or 4 pieces left. No one could get down to 1 or 2. So it's hard. It takes a lot of thinking, and it's not an easy game, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to waste some time. All right. So I want to talk a bit about the design for the boat. So let me step over here. I have some pieces over here. If you watch the video put out by Glowforge, they put a little thing together about us. You might recognize some of these, but this right here was the original concept for the boat. What we were doing is we were going through designing these board games. Luck House, Fox and Geese were some of the first ones, and I was working on Daldis. Daldis has a classic bow shape, and we were trying to do them all in a 10 by 10 shape. Now, we were also trying to figure out how to do some more advanced versions, some more cooler versions. So we're going to do these non-exclusive, these boards. The 10x10 is non-exclusive, and then the exclusive version for Glowforge. Those are a bit more elaborate. And this is going to be the elaborate doll board. So I designed this. If you notice, it's got the same thing, and this was the original token for it. This little faceless dude with a sword. Same concept with the shield on the side. We're going to give him a shield. And he would just fit in the peg and rotate 90 degrees. Same thing as we end up in the final. So I worked on this. Created this figurehead, liked it, turned out okay. Then the next day or so, I was sitting somewhere just thinking about this. And I thought, you know, I can make it thicker. Because some of these in the middle are hollow, obviously. Basically, the bottom one is the only solid one. And this one has the pieces on it. But these other three in the middle are hollow. I just kind of cut the shape out to make it grow, similar to what I did in the final design. I thought, what if I took this 5-layer boat, 6-layer boat, took up to 10 layers, created an actual compartment inside for pieces, and put Nefertofel and Fox and Geese and Gluckhouse inside the boat. Would that work? Okay, if that worked, where would I put the pieces? How would I make the shields work? How would I make the pieces work? How would I get the boards in there? So I started thinking about it. That was the original. The version 2 was this one right here. Same kind of basic thing with these other pieces on it right here. And inside it had a bit more of a square section. I ended up kind of scrapping that later on for the inner pieces. But it was the basic thing. And I had this where the idea for the sail came from. There we go. And it was a bit harder to deal with. I actually put the sail later on, after I'd already got the pieces kind of cut out. That was part of the problem because I couldn't get the center lined up. But if you notice, this is where the original idea for the boards being inside came from. So there's the original Nefertofel and Solitaire version inside. But when I put it in the Glowforge and everything, I could only really fit 2 boards on a proof grade sheet. And I'm like, if I'm going to design this as big as I want it to be and as good as I want it to be, that is going to be a lot of material. And that is something we wanted to avoid. We didn't want this to use 20 sheets of material to make. Which is why we ended up shrinking and slimming down the boards. We ended up making them longer, but we made them thinner, so they weren't taking as much room. Which is why we can get 3 of these on a board instead of just the 2. And the good thing is, I think it turned out really good. It's a nice sleek design. And overall, it turned out really good. There's a little more version kind of between them. That's probably what this one is, if I remember right. Where I tried going a little bit bigger. Didn't work out as well. But that is the original 2 kind of prototypes. Get them out of the way. Sounds like Brianna's come back. Went asleep. Okay, so we'll talk about the games, talk about the design. Now, when we submitted this to Glowforge, one of the reasons that they liked the design the best, one of the things that made them probably most excited about it, apart from how awesome it looks and the functionality and all the games, was I designed this boat, and basically all the game boards I've designed were done entirely in Glowforge Premium, in their Glowforge, in their software. Every single thing. Used basically a lot of generic shapes, like squares and boxes and lines. Used a lot of outlines, a little bit of clip art. That's basically what it was. Like the ship design, like these, were a lot of rounded squares or rounded circles. The base of the ship, the figurehead design. You want to pick that up?
Yep.
This took a lot of work because this took a lot of work to get the dragon head and the ship design right and everything. That had a lot of basic shapes, a little clip art, a lot of outlines being done. And because the tail to the dragon head was too big to fit on the ship, and we wanted it to be this big, that's why we have the head and tail print separate. Also, we wanted to make sure that we had the extra details of the dragon tongue and the horns, over here to YouTube, the dragon tongue and the horns, so that it adds some more dimension to it. And that was done by basically putting a bunch of different clip arts and pieces together, creating an outline, then deleting those parts, like the tongue and the horns, and doing another outline, so everything lined up right. No. Decline. Okay, there we go. So we got all sorts of that stuff going on in that. Yeah, so when we submitted the design, that is what they were really excited about, was the fact that awesome design and everything was done in their program. I mean, when everything was done, Brianna did move it over to Inkscape, just kind of clear it up and put it all into single layers. Because originally some of these had like 40 layers on them. Because of everything that was done, all the circles, all the engraving. So she compressed them down to maybe 1 layers or 2 layers of engraving and the scoring. And yeah, so when Glowforge heard that, they were very excited. I don't know if there's been any questions. I haven't seen any come up, so I'm just going to keep going.
I will say the first time, like, he showed me the very first prototype of what he wanted to do with Daldos.
That one over there?
Yes, this one. When he first showed me this one, my very first thought was, make it bigger. That was my first thought, was make it bigger.
I don't know if Brianna's talked about these yet, but when we were designing the games...
At the very beginning, before we really got going, so...
I'll touch on it again. When we were designing these games, it was very important to us that all the boards would be the exact same size. And we wanted them all 10 by 10 so they fit on a regular sheet of proof grade. We also wanted to make sure that every single board we did had the rules on the board. Do you have enough top there? I think so, right there.
Our version,
That's
I
fine.
think.
So we wanted to make sure they all the same version. Now, one thing we will be doing is we've already submitted 4 of these games to the catalog. We have a version. We have our own version of Nephitophel right here.
We know there's one already on the Glowforge catalog, but it doesn't have the rules, hence why we were like, when we made ours, we wanted the rules on the actual boards themselves.
Same for Nine Men's Morris. We have our own version. We're going to be submitting eventually as well. And do we have? I think we have one more. Oh, Solitaire. We're also going to be submitting Solitaire to the catalog. And then finally, we'll be working on submitting a box like this. We need to order more proof grade to do the design. And once we have more proof grade, we'll reprint this in proof grade materials and submit it. We want it to be able to hold at least 4 double-sided boards of light proof grade material. And it'll have all the slots inside to hold all the pieces. So that's kind of one of the things we're going to hopefully have on for hopefully October into the catalog. I don't know what else we want to talk about. I mean, we got a little plushie here, and if you don't have a Glowforge already, there's our QR code. If you need one, if you need to order one yourself.
Or go to our Linktree, our referral code's there too.
Also, if you haven't subscribed or followed us on TikTok or YouTube or on Instagram, please do that. Please follow us. We'll be doing more and more Glowforge stuff on there soon. I feel like we're missing something. I want to talk about the Nephitophel design on here, because it is a bit different than the one that's currently available on Glowforge catalog. The reason I like this one, apart from having the rules on there, is I wanted to make sure with these longboats and the compass that you knew placement. Basically, attackers go on the longboats, defenders go on the compass. If you cover them up, that's how you know you're in the right spot. Alright.
Which is a lot better than having to look up the rules for the other board, I feel like.
The other
board is pretty, don't get me wrong.
We don't want to trash talk anyone.
No.
But the other board is what inspired us to start.
Yeah.
Probably.
It really did.
Okay. We're getting in the wrong rabbit hole.
Yes,
anyway,
we are.
a lot of these games are from my family's heritage. My family's from Scandinavia. Daldos in particular, my family's from Denmark. And Nephitophel and Gluckhouse, my family has German and Norwegian ancestry. So we're all over the place. Overall, it's been very exciting. when I told my parents that our design of the month, our boat was going to be design of the month for September, the only thing they really asked was, "Does that make you any money?" That was their question. Our response is, "Who cares? It's cool." It's cool that Glowforge liked it enough to put it in the design of the month catalog. Hopefully, everyone out there likes it as well. It was a lot of labor of love. Took a lot of work to get done. A lot of wasted and proof-created material in the process of being tested.
And lots of, after he printed a piece and it failed, him coming out and being like, "Ah!"
A lot of frustration when the prints failed. Either due to settings on our side, or misplacement,
dirty lens,
or a dirty lens or laser. But when it finally turned out right, it turned out great. I mean, I love the fact that the pieces look so great. You have, where's the king?
King's down here.
King's actually
in this little pile here.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Yep.
There you go.
We got the king right here. He goes in the front of the ship. And that's also a marker for when you put the ship back together. Is when you put the ship back together, one of these sides is taller on the sail. It's right there. That side's taller. That goes in the front towards the king. And the king goes in the front of the ship. So that's kind of another reason there of all of that work and what that means. So I don't know if we have anything else. I don't see any questions on here or over there. So we might just wrap up early unless you got anything else you want to add. Any other projects we got working on?
I mentioned that I also had a layered ornament I'm working on with a windmill.
Okay. I will say this.
Yeah.
We have way more games coming out. Most of these games are from Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, and Scandinavia. Currently on my to-do list is start working on African, South American, North American, Asian games. I've already got a couple working on that. So we'll have a bunch of those boards hopefully soon. They're the same layout, the 10 by 10.
And he wants to make each of those into their own, like, cultural ship as well.
Or something. I haven't decided yet.
Aren't you going to do the Chinese treasure ship
gonna,
for, like, the Oriental ones?
I was gonna say that. So I'm actually a history major. That's what my degree is in, of all things. And so I was planning on doing, like, one of the Chinese treasure ships for the Asian games. I was going to do, like one of the Egyptian ships, or the pyramid for the African ones. I haven't decided yet, but it's something that's on my to-do list. I don't know how long it's going to take to get to them all. These were kind of rushed for the Scandinavian festival we had, but the other ones, I don't know. I've been researching a lot of medieval and ancient board games. There's so many. You probably all know Moncala. That's going to be going in one of them, and there's a version of Fox and Geese that's popular in Mexico. That'll be going in one, and there's a version of Fox and Geese that's popular in India, and one that's popular in Rome. That's all different versions. There's like the Coyote in Mexico. There's Heron Hunters over in Rome. There's the Bear. And there's all different kind of versions of the same game, but with different boards, different layouts, different number of pieces, different rules, but the same kind of concept: chasing and jumping, and one against many.
Now that makes me question the whole Rome part, because Nyman's Morris dates back to Roman times.
Nyman's Morris is so old, it's kind of weird where it comes from. She probably mentioned they found carvings of it in different temples, but I don't know where it started. It was so widely popular, found from Rome to Scandinavia. I don't know the origins of it. I could probably look it up afterwards, but as far as I know, that's
very old.
That's all we have. Do you want to put the ship back together?
Yeah.
At least basically. I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever put the ship back together?
Without you here, no.
Okay, let's see how you do. Let's see how you do.
Oh, great. So, no pressure on me.
None.
Everybody. No pressure on me at all, so...
I will remind you, Dallas is the last layer.
You're right, Dallas is the last layer. You're right. Okay. So, luckily we did, when we designed this, we did number each layer. So, and if you actually do go ahead and engrave that in when you print it, it actually helps you out a lot. So, let's see. Is 8 the lowest number?
7.
No, 7's the lowest number we have. Okay, 7, then 8, 9,
Yep, the 3 board pieces.
then 10, and then 11. There we go. And then Daldus is 12. Ugh. Hardest part is like lining up all the center.
That's what the mast is for. Can go layer by layer if you need to, one at a time.
Yeah, I might have to.
And make sure
See,
you face them.
I'm already doing it wrong.
Make sure you have the.
I'm showing you guys how not to do it.
Make sure you have the mast facing the right way.
I'm making sure.
So we've had this with us at the past several weeks at a farmer's market. So I've gotten pretty good at taking it apart and putting it back together to show people.
Yep, and we even had it in our local county fair, and it actually won purple ribbon.
Purple ribbon's kind of above a blue ribbon.
Yeah.
Purple ribbon's like best in its class.
Yeah, not quite ready to go to state, but
Well,
close
very
enough.
quickly, it's very important because it makes it easier. You go in the head side first, and then you bring it back down over the tail.
Yeah.
And you use the mast kind of as the handle. She's having a little trouble.
Yep.
That might be because, one, it was at the state fair. The tail broke off. We had to reglue it on today. So that might just be it. Is that she's having to realign the tail.
A little. It's a couple different things.
There we go.
There we go.
And then, of course,
Then-
the pieces go back on top. The sail goes on top. And then
And voila.
the side shields go on the side of the boat.
And you can tell
If you-
because their whole back hole pieces are longer.
And then the shield pieces are square.
Yes.
So just like that. We're not going to do this for all of them. It takes too long. And then the crates go on top, in the middle, and so the longboats. And then the rest of the people just put on top wherever they fit, kind of.
If you need to, use the storage compartment below.
Yep.
Pick it up by the mast a little and slip them in there. So
Yep.
yeah, that's the epic Viking longship.
With 12 medieval board games.
Medieval or even older, depending on which game you're talking about.
All right.
All right.
Hope you guys enjoyed this.
Thank you for watching. Those of you who watched, those of you who stayed forever, thank you.
All right.
You're awesome.
You guys have a good day.
Bye.